Hi, everyone. I am Lorianne. I am that gal from Milton, Ontario, Canada, and I am with.
I am that guy. I am Roy Miller from Dallas, Texas, and we would like to welcome you to our Lift Your Story podcast.
So, in this episode, we're very pleased to have Rosalynn Robb with us, and she's an entrepreneur and a cleaning consultant. We're going to learn more about that. Thank you so much, Rosalynn, for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, Rosalind, how did you come about to be a cleaning consultant?
Yes, absolutely. Is that something that I actually dreamed about as a kid that I was going to be? So God has his way of doing different things. But I actually went to college to become a counselor. And I wanted to work in a team with youth that were kind of troubled, and then realized I really wasn't gifted with youth. So I was like, goodness gracious, what am I doing? Couldn't really switch. I was at a very conservative Bible college, so I knew I didn't want to go into full-time ministry. So during the time I was in college, I also nannied for two attorneys, and I'm very ambitious and driven. And so I learned a lot about human trafficking in high school, and then definitely in through college as well. I also am an orphan, or was an orphan, excuse me, and also got really involved with orphan care. And so I thought, wow, I wonder if I can bring, law into this and go in to pursue a law degree and either become a federal prosecutor for human trafficking cases or to be a family attorney for orphan adoption foster care. So anyway, long story short, I applied to law school and I did not get in the first time. I was devastated. So I was like, gosh, what am I going to do? And I'm a nanny, and I also babysat. Was a house manager for two ER doctors in Louisville while I was studying for the LSAT and preparing. So I took about 2 years off. And I remember telling one of my actually references, which is actually now the Kentucky Governor, Attorney General, former Attorney General Andy Beshear, and I said, I didn't get into law school, and pretty shocked about that. He goes, "Oh, you'll be fine." He goes, "There's lawyers or a dime a dozen." He's like, "You'll figure out what you want to do." And I'm like, "But that's what I really want to do. Like, I can't think of anything else." And he's like, "Well, why don't you start your own business?" And I was like, "And do what?" Like, just really not into it at all. And I went home and I really thought about, again, what do I want to do? What comes natural to me? How do I tie in my passion to fight against human trafficking and really advocate for the millions of trafficking victims out there? And so it really dawned on me that I could take cleaning and really elevate domestic work. So there's obviously, the labor side of trafficking, there's a sexual exploitation, there's an array of different things. But I thought, could I take domestic work and elevate it as honorable work and then donate a percentage to local trafficking organizations in the Louisville area? And so that's actually what I did and I still do. I still own a company in Louisville, Kentucky. So speed along will be 7 years and come January. And got married about 2 years ago to my wonderful husband, who is in the Air Force, and knew that there was going to be some changes coming up because I wouldn't be permanently in Louisville, Kentucky. And so I really started thinking again and really, researching and studying. And what I see a lot is that a lot of military spouses are unemployed because of the constant move and just constant struggle. And so I was trying to think, hey, what do I want to do career wise? And I'm like, well, I'm definitely an entrepreneur. I love business. I love helping people. Can I take what I've learned in my 7 years? And oh my goodness, have I learned a lot. The trials and failures and successes and everything. Can I take that and, become a consultant and help people not do what I did? And, because again, I had a Bible background, my undergrad counseling, no business background. And here I am kind of my first 2 years working 100-hour work weeks. And so that's kind of how it all started. And I love it. I love helping other business owners that are just, struggling. Definitely, especially through COVID, it's been a very, very challenging year for all of us. But I think one thing that really does set me apart as a consultant is that I'm still in the same industry. Like, I still own a company. I fly back. I've actually flown 12 times since we moved in June from Texas to Kentucky. I have a full-time manager now who's going to take over, and I'm going to come back once a month. But still, I think that really helps me to really be able to definitely empathize. I'm not just like, oh, I did this, and that was way back there. But no, I can share, hey, this week here's some challenges that my company faced and what I've faced as a business owner. So I'm always learning and growing myself. And so that's what I'm excited about, is to bring others along.
So if you don't mind, the human trafficking and because right now with all the stuff going on in the United States, but in the world actually, but with all the stuff now, the human trafficking, Trump's trying to get all that stuff under control and all that stuff, I think that's really, really important.
It is.
And for you to, have that as kind of your motivation, I think that's amazing. Have you actually had any success for getting people out of that?
So I have not worked, we don't have employees that have come through that yet, no.
Okay.
We do help local organizations, with women are in the safe homes, and, also we help with the government as well as sponsor, so that police officers and other people can be, educated in law enforcement to be able to understand what, trafficking is and how trauma affects that. And so that's more of what I do. But actually, you talk about my passion. I mean, whenever I talk to people, when they're just like, oh my gosh, why am I even here? And that's such a good question, because there are tough days in business. You're like, why did I get myself into this? And so knowing your why in business is so important. And so even with Clean Start, my dream would be to, and one of the reasons why I named it Clean Start is I actually want to start a foundation probably next year or the year after, depending on obviously with all the different things I'm juggling. But I want to help women who are coming out, who are survivors, who've gone through the hard work and start their own businesses. Because I mean, they've overcome a lot. They're strong, they're resilient, and I want to tap into other entrepreneurs around the U.S. And so when somebody comes to me, survivor says, "Hey, I want to start my own bakery," or "Hey, I want to start my own, clothing line." I want to find, excellent entrepreneurs in the U.S. that be willing to partner for a year and say, "Yeah, let me journey and walk through this with you." And then also with Clean Start, actually, She Foundation is actually the name of it. So don't anyone steal it yet, because I haven't registered it. But Seen, Heard, and Embraced Foundation. That's just absolutely my dream, and I want that to encompass where, again, Clean Start is I'm helping other women have a clean start, and so that's kind of where, again, I want to take both businesses and use that passion and do something about these women.
Yeah, I like
That's
I
pretty
like that.
Yeah, that's pretty simple, actually. Rosalynn, all you have to do is, first thing, and it doesn't cost much, just copyright it.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I have a program called I Am That Gal, which is get a life that you deserve. If you want to put at the end of it, because it's get a life, but copyright it, at least you have that intact. So, because that's a beautiful name. I love that. And I love what it stands for. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, I know I love the military. Now, I wasn't in the military, but I mean, I have a lot of people, relatives, friends that were. And I mean, the sacrifice those men and women make and their families make is huge. And, for you, if you can help those wives be able to create a business, I mean, that would be amazing, because there's a lot of talented women out there that have skills, have hobbies that they don't realize they could turn that into a business.
Yeah, which is transferable to, if they move, they can take that with
Right.
them. I think that's the
Yeah.
important thing about entrepreneurship, which is what you're dealing with here, which is great, is because it's not a set location when you're an entrepreneur. You can take it with you, and that's
Yeah.
something they need. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love the Clean Start, though. The trafficking is something my daughter's really her main advocacy is plastic, but that's a bit part of it too. One thing I think that is really important is, and I don't know if you've gotten into this, is parents also teaching their children to be careful, because I mean, I told her about, the vans. My mother taught me that. I told her that a car following slowly or whatever. And she said, "Mom, thanks to you, because her and her friend noticed it, ran and hid, and that van was driving around looking for them." And she said, "Had you not educated me on these possibilities, she might have been a victim."
Yeah.
So I think that that's really important too, is that that level. So anyway, just to say that, I can't imagine coming out of that. Like you said, you need that strength to start again.
And I didn't have trafficking personally for me, but I was abused as a child, and it happened. My dad had a business, and we traveled 7 months around the year, and so it was a cousin, and so I went through actually the legal system during college, and it happened when I was 7. So again, I wouldn't say I was the human trafficking from a federal standpoint, but I've been through the legal process as a victim, and so I think that that's really honestly where it tugs my heart, because I want people to know they're not alone, they have a voice. And they're more than their past. I have a beautiful life now, but it was definitely a journey for me too. So,
Must have been very difficult.
yeah.
So I would think that having been around lawyers and such, that really does help you as well with your consulting, because you must have quite a bit of, even if you don't have your law degree, I would imagine you have a lot of experience and knowledge in it regardless.
Oh yeah, I think that way. I'm like, oh no, I'm like, okay, how am I gonna get sued, or this liability here, or that liability here? Yeah, no, it's fun.
Now,
yeah, it's been very.
Were you actually in the military?
No, my
Your
husband is, my husband is in the Air Force. He
Okay.
finished his residency at Wright Pat, and then we're down in Abilene, Texas, Dias.
Okay.
And then my dad was retired Navy, so about till I was 6, and then he retired.
Yeah, because my wife worked for the Army Air Force Exchange. I don't know what they call it now, but anyway, back it was called that then. And I know one of the important things that she always felt compelled that she was making a difference for the military in what she did. And I know I think they call it morale and welfare or something like that.
Yep.
On the military basis. That was a big deal to try to help with those families, when their husbands were off serving, overseas and stuff. So and so you thinking, helping people start a business and all that. I mean, to me, that ties into the morale and welfare, the unity, because I know in the military community, there's a huge, the people are there.
Yes.
Behind, they have a community, they all support each other, they're there for each other, and
they're your family, because you're not around family, so they become your family.
And develop a lot of close bonds.
Absolutely. So definitely think so.
So that helping somebody start a business, that's amazing. That would be great, and because people need that.
Right. Well, there's been so many awful things with COVID for sure. I don't ever want to lessen that. But one thing that I have seen, a really good thing that's come out, is that we really have gone to more online and virtual, even though it does not take up for face-to-face. Absolutely. Very different. But it helps, I think, for people to see, employers to see, hey, I've had people work from home. And so I think it's actually going to open up doors for military spouses to be like, yeah, we can trust them. They can move, and it doesn't matter. They can still do stuff from home. So I think that has been a really good thing.
Yeah, they can maintain their clients that way too, which is nice.
Yeah.
Thank goodness for technology. I always say, if this had happened 30 years ago, it would have been just awful, because I know it's not like but at least, I get to see who you are. I get to see your movements, when your facial expressions, and that makes a huge difference. It really does. So.
Well, even you, if your husband's overseas, he can Zoom, he can Skype, he can, FaceTime. He can still see you. It's different than just having to get a letter.
Right. Oh yeah. My mom was like, it would take 6 month deployment. She's like, maybe I would get one letter, maybe.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. A lot of blessings.
Yes.
So,
fantastic.
Go ahead, Lorianne. Were you going to say something?
No, I was just going to say, so with this, and just a quick one, but even getting them started, I would imagine there's a lot of women, because starting a business is, like you said, you did it, you just did it, but there are so many implications of doing it, getting it registered and the legal issues of it. So you are so well-rounded on all of that. That must be really, to get them to start, must be, what's a word? It must feel good.
Yeah, absolutely. When people are, hey, I want to start a cleaning business, I don't know, what do I need? And just being able to step by step, because it's very overwhelming. So yeah, absolutely.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, everybody needs a hand. And if you can say, okay, here's what you need to do this first. Once you get this done, do this, get with an accountant, get with an attorney, get here, here's how you find your clients. This is what you have to do. Here's the kind of a sales method, procedures you can use,
Right. Yeah.
stuff
My
like that.
first class that I'm about ready to publish, I'll by the end of this week it'll be out, but it talks about my number one method of getting my high-end clients. So majority of my clients in Louisville are the 5,000 to 20,000 square foot homes. And so really talking about how do you get the high-end clients? And it's not about, we clean for everybody the same, you know what I mean? I don't treat anybody any differently. But I think when you're starting a cleaning business, cleaning is essential, as we know, because of COVID, but it's also, a budget thing. And so when people, are tight on their money, cleaning is the thing that's going to go.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so that was something that I knew when I started my business is like, gosh, am I going to have employees that are going to rely on a paycheck? Like, I need to make sure that I have consistent repeating clients for cleanings. And that's kind of why I did Target, or not Target, but that's where I aimed for that clientele.
Well, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
They have the income.
Yep.
It's something they don't want to do. It's something they're willing to hire out.
Right.
That's just like another monthly expense they plan on.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
But it's rewarding for us. I mean, my employees, I just tell them, they get to come home and love on their kids and make dinner and, play games and do things with their families, or go to a sports game, practice, all of that. And they wouldn't be able to do that if they were having to come home and be like, oh gosh, I got to clean up. And so it's really, we're helping them do their jobs. Whether it's being a lawyer or doctor or a politician or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Baker. We're really enabling them to be able to serve our community as well. So it goes around the circle.
Interesting. You mentioned the kind of the upper scale clients. Are they pretty hard to? Do they have a hard vetting process for your company?
So yeah, I think there's definitely a certain way that you have to, present yourself for sure, and not in a fake way, but they want you to be very professional. I was telling my manager, I said, always have a business suit in the car. You know what I mean? If you have to go run and go to a home estimate or drop in, you want to be very well, polished and all that. But the big thing is, trust. And that doesn't have to be whether or not you own a $6 million home, or, you know what I mean? That's the thing that we are, I guess, selling is or that trust and that relationship. And so that's something that I always talk about with my employees. And this is what I stress with, my clients with Clean Start is, money comes and goes, but relationships don't. And so if you seek to be, of value to a client instead of just being successful, I believe that success is naturally going to follow.
Right.
And so that's really where we, aim is again. So yes, do we need to be presentable? Do we need to have our act together? Do we need to have our, insurance, copy? Yes, so they can see that we're at least $1 million policy. Absolutely. We want to have all of those checks off, but it's really coming in. And every single time we go into a client's home, I say this to them and I say this to my team is it's such an honor to be in somebody's home. You're going to see things that you may not necessarily when you're working in an office. You'll know when somebody is, sick, or somebody's, family member has died. Just a lot of things. And so it's a sacred place to be able to come into somebody's home. And so we want to cherish and we want to make sure that we clean and we, give that quality time because they deserve that.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, that's great because really coming to somebody's home, that's very personal space, that they're allowing total stranger or strangers into.
Yeah.
Right. So, they have to have that trust.
And you're right too, though, there does become a relationship with that over time when you're doing it. I mean, I know my mother had someone clean her home, of course, like you said, when things got tough. First she goes, I miss her. But there was that relationship that was built that made her miss her. It wasn't because of her cleaning the home, it was because she missed her coming by and being there. Just like my neighbor upstairs, he has somebody comes in every 2 weeks, and I don't think that it's only just the house cleaning anymore. It becomes that person and seeing them that week. And I think that that's just lovely when you build that kind of relationship. Yeah.
And all my team members that I have, I'm very, very picky. And that's something that I always talk about is it's stressful because you want to grow. You have that challenge of you want to grow your company, but you really need to think, okay, what's my plan here? Is my plan to have long-term clients, or is my plan to just grow as fast as possible? Because again, you can't do both. You got to be gradual. It's got to, what I mean? And so, yeah, I mean, the team members that I have, I mean, it was a challenge for me. Now, again, when I got married 2.5 years ago, my husband was up in Wright Pat, so Dayton, Ohio. So it was about 2.5 hours. And he was in his residency, so he's gone for like 20 weeks out of our first 2 years of marriage. So that's one of the reasons why I kept my business. But I would travel back and forth. And I remember that was my first little thing as a business owner of like, ooh, can I let go of some control here? Because this is my name, my reputation. And now I'm, in Texas. And one time when I was coming back, I think it was in September, and I missed my flight because my rental car broke down the side of the road. And, so I'm calling my team. I was supposed to be cleaning that afternoon. And I mean, they came alongside together like, hey, why don't you just stay? Like, you're supposed to come back on Friday. It's Tuesday. Why don't you just stay through the week? We'll figure this out and talk to our clients. And again, I think that's one of the most rewarding things for me as a business owner is not, oh, look at this great business I built. No, it's look at these people that I have poured into and invested in. And so that's something that I really, emphasize when, you're seeing a lot of turnover rate with employees is I was like, okay, let's talk about your practice here and what's your team culture? Because that's something where I have people for, 5+ years, been in business for 7 almost. And I mean, they're still with me. And I think that says something. I mean, I know, for instance, like this is not, everybody's dream job and they're going to live here the rest of their lives and, make this their career. Yeah. But still, again, as you talk about relationships with the clients, it's also relationships with your team. Like they're choosing to give their time, which work is, as like the most time that you really have that you give towards anything. And they're investing in your company, in your mission and you as an employer, and your clients. And so I take that very seriously as well. And so that's just something that I really want to emphasize with, a lot of my clients are just really struggling. And it's like, well, would you want to work for yourself? Like, but let's talk about how we can make this better for all of us.
Yeah, I know. I worked in construction. I worked in the office, but I noticed the owner of this one company I really loved working for, like you said, look, we are just support for the people out there building the jobs. They're the ones that are making me the money. Mm-hmm. All we are, we're just support for them. We get them what they need, and they do the work. They're the ones that are doing the work. And he was real big on taking care of his employees. And let's just put it this way. The first year I worked for him, he made $3 million. The next year he made $5 million. The next year he made $7 million. The next year he made $11 million. And he retired at like 52 years old.
No, yeah.
Wow.
But I mean, but I loved working with the guy. I worked hard, but he took care of us. We got great bonuses, but his philosophy was take care of those men out there doing the work. They're the ones that are making this company. We're just support.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say a funny, they say happy wife, happy life. Mm-hmm. But there's that other one too, happy employee, happy client. Because if you're treating your employees well, like I'm telling you, if the employee is not treating well, they don't like their job, it's going to reflect. And so, definitely happy employee. Some businesses don't understand that. They believe that, the client's got to be that's number one, but it's not.
Yeah,
no.
Absolutely. Because your clients, definitely do see. I mean, I get that all the time. They're like, wow, I can tell that so-and-so loves working for you. So-and-so really, like, they're just always smiling. I'm like, well, they're bad days too. They're hard days. But no, I said, I'm so thankful for them too. Like, that's one of the reasons why I love my job, for sure, is to be able to be with them. And I miss cleaning. So I told my husband, I'm going to have to pick up some homes in Texas. I don't know how, but he's like, oh no. I was like, I don't want to start a whole other company. But I love cleaning.
No, that's really funny. But I mean, your employees, I mean, that's who you are.
Absolutely.
I mean, you might be the face of the company, the people, but those people out there doing the work, that's you.
Right.
That's all part of the brand, right? And then if you get into something else, they love you for what you're doing there. They'll follow you into the next thing. Yeah. But here's a funny thing though. You see, I used to, wasn't a professional, but I used to go and help like, and clean other people's, like, just as a kid, right? Or as a, well, young adult and stuff. Just, it was, they'd pay me, but I was just doing, and it was funny because I really liked cleaning other people's homes.
Yeah.
But I can't stand cleaning mine.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. I kind of like cleaning mine because I actually get to enjoy it when it's done. I get to clean and leave somebody else's house, and I don't get to sit there on the couch and just enjoy. I was talking to a client. She's like, "Oh, I just love my husband. Like, loves when you come because that's the day that we do takeout. So he gets to choose the meal because I just want the house clean for 24 hours."
That's it.
Great idea.
I think that's why I like cleaning other people's homes, because I'd clean it and I'd walk away and I saw it clean and I'd walk away. Me, I clean mine and 10 minutes later, there's a mess again.
That's right.
Anyway, it's kind of funny.
My husband was thinking about getting a Roomba. I'm like, I don't know if that's an insult to me. I'm not here a lot of times, so I'm like, okay, maybe when I'm not here and I'm up in Kentucky, you can use a Roomba, but I don't know about this.
Oh,
Well,
lovely.
So how can our listeners get a hold of you?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can go to www.cleanstart-consulting.com. There's a link at the bottom of the front page that you can click to do a 15-minute free consultation just to hear, hey, what's going on? How can I help you? Or you can go to my Instagram or Facebook, also Clean Start Consulting. No dashes in any of those. And I'd love to help anyone. So even if it's not a cleaning business, like you said, there's so much just in small business that I learn and I'm still learning that I can, continue to encourage and pass along to other small business owners. So we do not have to do it alone. I definitely, my first year, I felt very alone, for sure. So I want to help prevent that.
And did you say that you had something that was being published? Did you have a book?
Oh, I do not have a book. No.
You do not. Okay.
I will have Clean Start. I did a first edition, but we have the Clean Starter magazine, which so we'll have the spring edition and we're working on it right now. But the whole point of that is to really help cleaning business owners feel encouraged, supported, and inspired. And so we're going to be interviewing other cleaning business owners around the world. I have clients in London and Australia, so not just in the US. And
Wow.
then also want to bring in experts though, because I know as a small business owner, we're drinking out of a fire hydrant, but we also just need somebody who can just say, okay, this is what you need. And so finding someone, whether it's a bookkeeper or a brand, specialist, or I have somebody who's writing a piece about time management as an entrepreneur. I think we all need that. So just different things that will help support the business owner. And so I'm excited about that because I really want to build that community. And then in February, I'm working on actually my own podcast, but inside of my private membership. And that's where I really want to get, dig deep. I'm honest and transparent on, Facebook and Instagram, but there are things though that we might want to get into deeper when it comes to employees and just struggles. And I know other business owners, are going to be cautious and leery because they don't want to just blast something and then find out somebody else here. So how do we, I would change names if I were referencing, some employees of my own or whatever, but to be respectful and or clients. But, I really want it to be a safe place for business owners and cleaning industry to say, hey, I got this problem here. For instance, I had a client that, my first year of business that said that we stole 3 out of his 5 Rolex watches.
Yeah.
So how do you handle that? Now, thankfully we didn't, and he found them in his car a week later after spring break because he forgot he was going to go get the batteries. But just those things, like how do you handle conflict and how do you know when to let go of a client? You know what I mean? Or when do you know when to let go of an employee or not? I don't want to say all the bad things,
Right.
but those are things that I really want to help and collaborate with other business owners and help them feel like they have that sense of community.
That's beautiful. I love that. I love that idea that the magazine. I really like good luck on that. That's wonderful. Maybe, you can come back in 6 months, tell us how it's going and give us an update. That'd be wonderful.
I'll be happy to send you a copy online. So it's going to be digital. So I'd love to send it to you all.
Cool. Great. Well, we would like to really thank you for taking the time to be on with us today. You've really got a lot going on for yourself, I think. And I just see you being an amazing success.
Well, thank you. Couldn't do it without other people that poured into me. So I feel like, I'm just doing the same thing that others are doing, that
But-
chain reaction.
You're taking action too, though. Understand that that's, that's pretty big. So as much as there's other people doing it, you'd be surprised how many people aren't. So you're an inspiration to those people. So thank you again. All right.
All right. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for being with us. Take care.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye-bye.